I'm not going to tell a story as such, but I'm just going to make a couple of comments that were very meaningful to me in my relationship with Rabbi Maisel. The first thing, I knew Rabbi Maisel for 30 years, from when he came to Camp Space Shul, and a bit before. He already had a reputation at that time as being a very special man. And my father went to Constantia Shul to check him out. He was sent by Reverend Pactor to go see what Rabbi Maisel was all about. And I remember my dad telling me that Rabbi Maisel came to have a look at Camp Space Shul. And at that time, we didn't have the upstairs balcony. And he said, I'll only come to the shul if you build a balcony. So that was probably one of the first and only demands that I know that Rabbi Maisel made. But thank God we got him for 29 years. And I was quite blessed because where I stand in shul is right next to where Rabbi Maisel's davened. So I was lucky. For 29 years, I stood next to Rabbi Maisel and davened on his right-hand side. And I always regard that as my zchut, that, you know, I can always say, Rabbi Maisel, you davened on my side, let me in to where I need to go one day, or please God, may the Mashiach come before that. You see, when I heard on Friday that Rabbi Maisel had passed away, I didn't believe it, actually. I got a shock and I didn't believe it. And I think the chief rabbi pointed out that Rabbi Maisel was someone who was so full of life. You never imagined him passing away. And I say that in Cape Town, the rabbi was very special, and he had 15,000 friends. He had 15,000 friends. I think that's quite a unique thing to be able to say. And at this point, I would just like to mention that Rabbi Maisel wasn't interested in computers. He didn't like computers, and definitely not Facebook. But Rabbi Maisel had many more Facebook friends than you can have on the computer. And he always said, if you spoke to him about the computer, he said, speak to Esther about it. Esther's on the computer. I don't know what he did at work, but at home, he definitely wasn't on Google or anything like that. I was quite fortunate in that Rabbi used to confide in me. When he had a problem, as a friend, he used to tell me what his problem was. And I, as his friend, if I can call myself that, used to phone him. And the one thing about Rabbi Maisel is that at Rabbi Maisel's hesped, there must have been about 15 Cape Town rabbis, 15, I would say. And it was very inspiring to see, in a way, that was comforting, because these 15 rabbis, and I think they're fantastic rabbis, and I love them all, but they are going to follow in Rabbi Maisel's footsteps. But one day I wasn't so happy for some reason, and I phoned up Rabbi Maisel, and I said, and Rabbi Ziegler, don't take this personally. I said, Rabbi Maisel, I'm not happy with the young rabbis of Cape Town. So what was my complaint? My complaint was, when you phone up the young rabbis in Cape Town, you get their answering machine. And I don't like to get the answering machine. I like to speak to the rabbi. And one thing about Rabbi Maisel, no matter how busy he was, he always picked up the phone and he always had time to speak to you. And if I may say, the rabbi agreed with me, but nothing personal to the young rabbis. I can understand now why they why they haven't got as much time. So I just want to carry on and say that the one thing that I particularly respected about Rabbi Maisels, and I always regarded him as a rabbi amongst rabbis, was that he he was my example of following halakha. He followed halakha. I remember I was taking medication one Yom Kippur, and I went to him and I said, Rabbi, can I take water for my medication? And he said, you can only take a certain amount. So, but I said, Rabbi, can't I take some more because I need to take it for my medication? And he said, no, you can't. He was quite strict about how much water I could take. And I really respected that he did it in such a natural way, but halakha was so important to him. I was also privileged to help him at times with kashrut and also as a witness at weddings. Also, the one thing Rabbi Maisels was very proud of was that he never missed a minyan, no matter where he was. I remember instead of going to Israel to the bris of one of his sons, grandsons, he decided to stay in Camp Shul because they needed him to lane. He wasn't going to go to the bris of his son because his community, of his grandson, because his community came first. And that's how he operated his whole career. He was also very, and it goes without saying, he was also very charitable to everyone. And I remember Rabbi Maisels, after every Friday night service, he said to me, Gavin, would you like to come for supper? And every Friday night I gave him the same answer, Rabbi, thank you, but my parents are at home and they expect me for supper. But what was interesting was that he still asked me the same question the following week. And I think that's a wonderful example because sometimes we think people aren't needy. If they've got someone, they don't need things. But the Rabbi Maisels always inquired of you, no matter what your circumstance. And I would just like to end off with something which he told me. Rabbi Maisels had one regret, and I wonder, one regret. And what was this regret? He regretted having not studied Chazanut. He regretted not studying Chazanut. He loved to sing, and I'll never forget, I have a very fond memory in my mind in that I used to come to the Mincha Ma'ariv services, and very often I was the last one to leave. And as I left, I could hear Rabbi Maisels burst out into song. At the top of his voice, he sang the Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur service. So he loved to sing, and as soon as there was no one in shul, he used to sing and really enjoy it. But I just want to end off by saying that, you know, I felt very sad on Friday. But suddenly on Shabbat, I realized, you know, I'm inspired by Rabbi Maisels. I want to try and be like Rabbi Maisels. I want to follow in his footsteps. And I think what Rabbi Maisels would have liked us was the word in Hebrew is to be makpid, to be careful with the mitzvot, to treat them sensitively and to try and follow as many as we can. And he set the bar very high. But please God, in my life, I will try and follow in my great rabbi's example. I won't get to his level, but I will try the best that I can.